Oh, hello. Welcome to an evening of poetry with your old friend, White Trash Rob. Now, I'm just fucking around. Light is blinking. Hello there, fellow courtesans, concubines, and curly-cued Casanovas with a consuming commitment to crass communication and coy coquetry, like this creepy, cranky, sometimes cruel curmudgeon right here. Like all you cranky, cruel, creepy curmudgeons out fucking there. Welcome to another installment of White Trash Rob's NODCAST. And we're going to rush to the prayer today because I have to do this in a certain order. But 3 weeks in a row! Whoa! You fucking kidding me? Somebody is handing snow cones out in fucking hell right now. But the reason I'm doing this right now is because it's still up in the air whether I'm going to be able to get together with Mike McColgan from the Street Dogs tomorrow, and my brother Mark from the Ducky Boys. And do we have a topic? If that does happen. If it doesn't, I have another topic that I want to get into, and I may fucking damn well get into it anyway, because I'm like that. But I wanted to start with a bit of a PSA, a public service announcement. All kidding aside, I've released 2 videos since I came back from the abyss, and 2 days ago was another 3 weeks clean again. But yay, I mean, what else am I gonna do? You lose time, you regain it. You can always regain time, but you can't crawl out of the grave, can you? No wisdom in the grave, and once they throw the dirt on you, game fucking over. So I'll keep reaching for the stars and trying to get the fucking time back. But in the meantime, a couple of people have pointed out to me that even in last week's video, the Thanksgiving video, which I did with my brother Mark, and which was a relatively light video, we were just sort of bantering and shooting the shit and telling, you know, old school touring band war stories, Blood for Blood war stories, Ducky Boys war stories, and we did the Thanksgiving list and all that. It was all around a bit of an inoculation against the darkness I had injected in the previous video, the one before last week, so 2 videos ago, which was the darkest video I've ever done. That was the Back from Rehab video. And on a side note, I thought that was going to alienate everybody. I thought people were going to come at me with fire and brimstone, and they didn't. It was the most well-received episode I've ever done, which, once again, I am reminded that I cannot underestimate you people. You're all grappling with the same shit that yours truly is, and vice fucking versa, and sometimes a straight blast of dark truth is what you need. It can't always be positivity. Certainly I'm not capable of that, and that's one thing I've tried to make clear on this fucking video. This tete-a-tete vis-a-vis the video, which we do now once again once a week, but for a while it was all spaced out. You know what I'm fucking talking about. But one of the truths that I've tried to make clear with this is, you know, the old VH1 narrative is, you know, the rise to the top, and then you get all fucked up, and then you straighten your head out, and you come back and you live life happily ever after. That doesn't fucking happen. Just because you get clean doesn't mean you live life happily ever after. You just live life. And there's fucking horrible days, and there's good days sometimes. Sometimes a lot of good days, but sometimes there's a lot of fucking horrible days. And I try to make that clear. And I think that kind of truth is what we all resonate with. And I was certainly pleased and surprised by how well received that fucking blast of darkness incarnate I hit you all with 2 videos ago was received. And thank you all for the messages of support. I fucking mean it. I don't often get my shirt off and panties off and fucking do the circle jerk thing, but thank you all. I'm serious. I'm not being a fucking smartass. I know I sound inherently snide and sardonic. It's just my nature, but I'm being serious right now. Thank you all for the messages. I read every fucking one of them because I fucking needed them. Thank you. I appreciate it. Team no fucking head in the oven. It's a growing fucking movement, sadly. I wish it wasn't. I wish we were cauterizing it at this generation, but it looks like we're just going to keep producing damaged humans. That seems to be mankind's way. Well, the more we draw from each other, the better chance we have to survive without doing horrible things to ourselves, right? But here's my public service message. Somebody pointed this out to me in response to last week's video, and I kind of poo-pooed it a little bit. A couple of people pointed it out to me, and I kind of eh. But then I watched it again. After it, normally I only watch these things to edit them. But I watched last week's video again a couple of days later. It was a couple of, like, 3 days ago. I finally watched it in its entirety, in its final form, on the YouTubes. And I make too many casual drug references. I'm gonna try to stop doing that. I know why I do it. A lot of people think that I'm glorifying or romanticizing, glamorizing the dope thing. That is not my intent. I think you all know that have watched this thing for any length of time or any episode or even just checked in once in a while that I try to present the consequences of that shit as clear. I try to rub people's noses in the dark side of that. I am not trying to fucking make it seem cool or anything like that. First of all, the reason I bring it up a lot is if a story collides, if something that I'm bringing up in furtherance of a larger point collides with drugs or drug reference in some way, that's the way my mind works. Of course, I'm going to make note of it. It's something that's prominent in my experience. The other thing, too, is as horrific as the whole trip is, me personally, you've heard the expression, to the thinking person, life is hilarious. To the feeling person, life is hell. Well, I used to make a joke. What do you call it when you fucking both? Well, in my case, the smug fuckers called it bipolar. Type 2 major bipolar. I just call it life. But to me, from my own experiences, not some of the death and destruction I've seen as a result of it, I'm talking my own experiences, my own observations, I do find the whole fucking thing comically tragic and tragically comic. And there are some crazy fucking stories that come out of living that life, and I've amassed quite a few of them. However, it's not healthy for any of you that are grappling with that fucking thing, and it's not healthy for me to just constantly go there in my mind. So I'm going to attempt to get away from that shit. Now, here's the thing. You know me. If I feel I got to say something in furtherance of a larger point, I'm fucking going there. I don't give a fuck. You hear the shit that I talk about on this thing on a regular basis. I don't hide from nothing. But I am going to try to drop the casual references that just sort of, oh yeah, I remember that night I stuck a turkey baster full of fucking Oxycontin up my ass and did a handspring. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I find that kind of funny. Did I ever do that? No, I don't think so. Oh, maybe. But I find that kind of shit kind of funny, but I'm going to try to cease and desist with the casual, no greater point, just a little tangent type fucking thing. I don't think it's good for anybody. I don't think it's good for me. I don't think it's good for anybody out there grappling with it. And I don't think it's good for the larger point of this fucking thing, which is that shit fucking sucks and wrecks your fucking lives. So, yeah, the reason I often go there is because, yeah, is a drug's a road to ruin? Sure, but it's a fucking scenic route, and you see some funny shit on the way down. That's why my mind goes there, but I'm going to try to refrain from that crap. The casual references, the little joking, insert here. By the way, that was the night, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to try to stay away from that stuff. Like I said, in furtherance of a larger point, I'm fucking going there with bells on. I'll go there full fucking blast like I always do, if I feel it serves a larger fucking truth. But as far as the casual shit, I'm going to try to cease and desist. So that's just what I wanted to say. And I wanted to get that as the intro to this fucking video. So let's get to the fucking prayer so we can get on with this motherfucker, whatever this motherfucker turns out to be. We can go a couple of different directions. Always an exciting time of White Trash Rob's NODCAST. Never know what the fuck's going to happen. And yes, I'm back in the fucking shed. The reason me and my brother didn't do the shed last week is it really was like 40 below zero up here. So we went in his car so we could have a little bit of heat. But I can take it because I am a real man and my forefathers were Vikings. So I sit in the cold. Here. Yar! Whatever. Let's do the prayer fucking thing. Doff your hats. Drop your drawers. What I got to do to find a better way to make it through this? Got to be a better way than living like this. I was waiting for a better way and waiting for a better day. I waited so long that I lost my faith. I was waiting, I was hating, I was pleading, I was bleeding, I was praying for something that never came. I prayed for something that never came. Maybe it did come and maybe I fucking blew it and lost it along the way. But all we can try to do is get it back. Right? Even if we never do. Truth is in the doing, not the getting. Maybe you prayed for something that never came too. So in my case anyway, bang, glug, 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 bang, and no more. Ah! As always, for those of you who want to pray along in real time, here it is. Shout out to Bob, Bailsy Bob, the Metronomicon Falzano, my hetero life mate and the editor of the show. Bob! Hit it!
What I gotta do to find a better way to make it? There's gotta be a better way to live it like this. I was waiting for a better way and waiting for a better day. I waited so long that I lost my faith. I was waiting, I was hating, I was bleeding, I was bleeding, I was praying for something that never came. I prayed for something that never came. So beg, begging no more. No one could save me and the pain drove me out of my home. My soul was a great black pit and I just had to find something I'm feeling with. It was either that or slit my fucking chest. One shot, there's no more. Right to the dope man. Took the communion that was offered, it was dope man. Now get the dope spot. Right to the dope man. I'm on my knees the way you like it, take my soul man. Yeah, you can fly to it and climb so high to it. And in a Dunkin' Donuts bathroom you can die to it. And you can burn to it. Yeah, you can burn to it. Burn.
There's some little girls playing in the woods across the brook, like right over there. So I'm gonna wait and do this later, because the last thing on earth I want to be caught doing is being in a shed in the woods with a video camera and a bunch of little girls running around. That's a bad scene. So we'll be back. Take a break. Light is blinking. Welcome back to White Trash Rob's NODCAST. As you can see, the computer's gone because the computer has a battery charge in it long enough to usually do about one of these clips. Then I got to run in and load it and then recharge it. But I don't have a problem with that because I had to fix the lighting too. This thing was like a little bit closer. I'm not super eager to have my haggard, non-weathered, Crypt Keeper Dr. Death face illuminated in stark white light when I do these things. And the little kids are gone. That was just a scene. I didn't really feel like explaining to the fuzz, the local fuzz, if they ended up showing up with inopportune questions to the guy with the fucking tattooed face and the Dr. Death expression hiding in the shed on the property that he's not a resident of, with little kids running around. Blood for Blood's gotten in enough trouble. We don't need to go there with White Trash Rob, do we? And quick shout out to my brother Steve. He's the one that provided me with that computer I've been using, without which these videos would not be happening. So shout out to Steve. Hang in there, brother. I know you're having a rough time, but I love you, guy. Hopefully I'll have Steve on the show too, because he's got some things I'd love to share with y'all. Sorry, had to wipe the camera. Gets condensation on it sometimes. So here we are back for this NODCAST thing, and what I wanted to talk about today, because I had some thoughts on it, is that oh so hardcore of topics: revenge, retribution, vengeance, vindication. Grr. I've mocked this topic in the past, but there are far too many of us out there that have suffered experiences that we have every fucking right to want revenge for. So, though I often make light of it because of how self-serious some of these bands take it. See, you know what? What I mocked in the past wasn't the desire for revenge. It was this hardcore notion of, if you fail me in any way, you're a traitor. That's what I used to mock. I actually did a whole podcast episode on it. That whole trust thing. Somebody had accused me of, you don't trust people. And I had said, I trust people to be people. Nobody can be everything to someone all the time. Everyone has limits and times when they're unavailable. Hardcore takes two, because hardcore people in our world tend to come from pretty savagely traumatic experience. At least about 8 out of 10 of those that I've met come from something pretty ugly. They tend to have trust issues And the way they apply that to their lives is they expect total loyalty from everybody around them. I expect about 80%. Somebody can be there most of the time for me. I count them to be a dear friend. But everybody's got to, even your life partner can't be there all the time. There's times when they got to take a dump. There's times when they got an earache. There's times when they got to go to the doctors. I just always got kind of a kick out of this uncompromising, hardcore approach to like total loyalty every minute of every day. You better be there for me under every and all circumstances, or you're an utter betrayer. But the desire for revenge, that's a different thing. And my life was consumed with it for a very long time. And the reason I'm bringing this up is very recently I came across a picture online. I'm going to be treading carefully with some of my words here. I came across a picture of someone who did a great deal of harm to me personally and my whole family a long time ago. And there was a time when I would have done anything to hurt this person. And I would have been willing to risk anything, up to and including my freedom and even my life, to hurt this person. And I would have done anything to this person, up to and including taking their life, if I could have. I certainly would have done it if I could have done it with impunity and without consequence, if I could have found a way to do that. But I even would have risked consequence and my freedom and perhaps even my life, given the right opportunity or the wrong opportunity. It got me thinking of a Sun Tzu quote that I used to repeat to myself like a mantra, and I'm going to paraphrase it a little bit because it's from ancient Chinese, so the quote's a little hazy to begin with. But the quote went something like, "It's only a matter of waiting by the river long enough for the bodies of your enemies to float by." It's a Sun Tzu quote. And I used to repeat that to myself like a mantra. Like a mantra. And for those that are vengeance-minded, like I was, back when I'd rattle that quote off in my head, it's an inspiring quote. Even a reassuring one. But I've given it a lot of thought. I've been giving it a lot of thought this last week since I saw this person's picture online, this transgressor's picture. I waited by the river a long time for the body of this particular person to float by, amongst others. A lot of time. The problem with that quote and the idea of waiting by the river is a few things, but the first and foremost thing I thought of is, while you're waiting by the river, you or I or whatever, anybody that's waiting for that body to float by, there may be people waiting down the river for your body to float by. Because when you're in a mindset of vengeance, you're locked in a place of hatred. That's it. You are. Sorry. You're not going to convince me otherwise. No matter how righteous that vengeance and vindication, desire for both, desire for vengeance and desire for vindication may be, and there are so many of you out there, myself included, that would have been justified in perhaps retaliating even to a great extent. But like I said, while you're waiting by the river, you're locked in a place of hatred. That makes you more inclined to treat people in a way that's going to have them waiting down that river for your body. And that's going to have those people locked in a place, perhaps, while waiting for your body, that they're going to be inclined to behave towards other people in a way that makes them, others, wait further down the river for them. Do you see the geometric pattern going here? What we're talking about is karma. That's karma. When I was locked in that place of hatred, I was a vengeance-minded person in all things. And this wasn't just one person. This is just one spectacular example, very extreme example of a transgressor. But there were countless others. All the more so because I was in a mindset to be inclined to view the world that way. So I was making more transgressors on a daily basis, whether it was just because of my own reactive nature, wanting to hit back at anybody that fucking looked at me askance, or because they were genuinely transgressors that fucked me over and I retaliated or tried to or whatever. Long story short, you're talking about a lot of people waiting by a river, waiting for a lot of bodies to float by. That's time that they could be using to better their own lives and better the lives of their families. That's not to say that some of those people waiting for them fucking bodies to float by aren't completely justified to want to see that body float by. Believe me, I understand. I know the way the world and the people in it, especially when you're a child, can chew you up, spit you out, and throw you away in an offhand way. That's the most scary thing about it. Sometimes it's not always extreme cruelty and malice and malfeasance. Sometimes it's just casual neglect. But sometimes, and particularly in our world, it is often cataclysmic cruelty and abuse that produces this mindset, and I understand it entirely. But waiting by the river, I wasted a lot of time waiting for the bodies to float by. And like I said, when you're in that mindset, you're more inclined to be reactive. You're going to make more enemies. They're going to be waiting for you. You're going to be waiting for them. Sending all that bad energy out. You're basically throwing logs on the fire. And that's the thing with a fire. Eventually you burn everything, and the only thing left to burn is yourself. And God knows I did it. I hid from my own hatred with drugs and alcohol for a long time. I ran from it. I knew I was doing it too. I knew I was behaving cowardly. I didn't want to face those screaming memories that fly at your face like a fucking bird of prey. Is that fucking thing still on? God damn it, if I lost this one, I'd be mad. I know what it's like to run from those things. I know what it's like to be consumed by those things. But fires burn out if you don't feed them. All fires. If you don't feed them. And what I was doing was feeding the fire that consumed myself. And in 2007, the beginning of 2007, I came back and tried to stamp out the fires. And it was the hardest fucking thing I ever did. I got fucking burned. A lot. And there's still scars. But after putting out those fires, I had the best 10 years of my life. It's only recently, because I stopped guarding against reignition, that I got burned again. I stopped guarding. I took myself off my own fire watch, and I got burned again. But that's a reminder that this is something you got to work at. And I did, and I had the best years of my fucking life. And I hope anybody out there that's burning right now can do it too, because I nearly destroyed myself. The fact that I'm sitting here talking to you, I mean, just cursorily view any of these videos at almost any given time, it's almost nothing but near-death experiences. I make light of most of them, but the fact is, it is a 1,000,000 to 1 shot that I'm sitting here, and many of you out there, it's the same thing. The minute you start fucking heavily with drugs and alcohol, or letting your mental, you know, if you got genuine pathological mental illness, letting that run amok, after a certain period of time, you're just a mathematical anomaly that you've even survived. And I am a testament to that fact. But those of you out there that are burning, I can promise you, you can put the fires out. It is possible to stop feeding them. I should be under the ground. And I remember telling somebody about 5 years into the good years I was talking about. They said, yeah, I'm glad you're alive. Would have been a shame if you died young. I said, no, that wouldn't have been the shame. The shame would have been that I would have died never knowing anything but a hatred so poisonous I couldn't sit in my own skin. I don't want any of you to die that way. I don't want any of you to fucking die that way. That's the crime and the tragedy. Give it fucking time. My mantra in my 20s to illustrate how serious to illustrate that I understand that sometimes you've known nothing but bad times to date. There are people out there that have never known anything but pain and abuse. And my mantra in my 20s, when people would say, ain't it getting better? When I was still grappling with cataclysmic savage depression, I used to say no. In fact, I would take a time machine back to the age of 9, if I could, cut my own young self's throat and spare myself the next 17 years. I meant it. It sounds dramatic and but I was serious. I was serious. And I know many of you feel the same fucking way. tragedy of that, if I had died during any of that period, was I wouldn't have known those later years that I just didn't see coming. Could not foresee them coming. It was one calamity after another. Just couldn't see them coming. You don't know what's coming. Like I said at the end of the last 2 episodes, and I didn't mean to make it like a refrain, but as long as you're fucking breathing, there's hope for better ways and better days. Even in the face of everything you've suffered and lost, you might not get back everything you lost. You're certainly not going to be a rock star or a celebrity or a millionaire, statistically. Maybe a few of you will be, and God fucking bless you. I hope you get great joy of it. Don't be careful what you wish for. But you might not get any of those things back you lost. You might not repair the damage you've done or the damage that's been done to you. But you might get to know days of peace and wisdom, a bit of serenity. I've seen it to be possible. I've seen it too many times. People come back from lives that I would have considered, Jesus, they might as well be dead. There's just nothing to come back from. I'm talking about what they've done to themselves, these people, what they did to others, what they lost, years of time in prison, horrible things they did to themselves. And then at some point something clicks or something changes and they go on to have utterly unpredictable lives with periods of great joy and fucking reward. And anybody that knows me knows that I am the furthest fucking thing from some Tony fucking Robbins. I've had a bad fucking week. I'm still picking up the pieces. My situation hasn't changed from 3 weeks ago when I had the dog leash around the neck. But my attitude has a little bit, and this week tested it really bad, or tested it really thoroughly. But I'm going to try, because what else is there to do other than go in and fucking utilize the leash or the handgun, or pick up the bottle or pick up the syringe or the straw and annihilate myself that way, which will ultimately end in suffering and death, eventually, one way or the other. Right now, anyway, and this can change, I'm a fucking realist above all things. Tomorrow I may wake up and say fuck it, but right now I'm trying not to. And I hope any out there grappling with the same thing will try to do the same thing. Just, if you can't stay clean, if you can't stay the course to wellness, whatever it is, whatever you're grappling with, whether it's mental demons, physical ones, chemical ones, whatever the fuck it is, if you can't stay the course to better days, at least stay breathing. At least stay breathing, because then the better days are still possible even after times that makes it seem utterly impossible. I can tell you right now, I'm glad I didn't go back and slash that little 9-year-old's throat. Not that it's ever possible. We can't go back and affect the past. Past's gone. Tomorrow ain't promised. We only got right this minute. That's why I got up and decided to do this video on vengeance. And I don't want to wait by the river anymore. If nature takes its course, that monster that I was talking about, he's going to be floating by the river, floating down that river any day now. However, keep in mind, Father Time's undefeated. We all float eventually. Mine, I could float next week, you could float tomorrow, a meteor could hit, I could fucking fuck up, kill myself, who the fuck knows? I ain't waiting by the fucking river for that fool no more. Let that person float by, unattended, unmourned, unmarked. I ain't giving that person the power. I hope you can do the same with your own demons, whether they're external, internal, or a bit of both. After years of having that mindset, I prefer another quote on revenge. This one is ascribed to Confucius. I know there's some debate whether it was actually Confucius that said it, but I believe the truth of the statement regardless. And that statement is, when embarking on a journey of revenge, first dig 2 graves. One for yourself and one for the target of your revenge. There's some truth to that. I had one foot in the grave for a long fucking time. I had my foot in it, stuck my foot back in it relatively recently too. But right now I'm trying to keep my goddamn foot out of the grave. I hope this made some sense. This was a real convoluted one and one of the more abstruse, but it meant a lot to me because it's been on my mind all fucking week. I hope somebody got something out of it. And know, please know that I love you all. For real. Nobody else does. I do. Gotta love our own tribe, right? Team no head in the oven. That's all I wanted to say. And let's continue this trend. The new evolution of White Trash Rob's Nodcast continues. Plus, professionally, there's some cool things coming that I can't wait to share with you guys. Like a lot of cool fucking things. So, I'm going to try to fill in my own grave and leave vengeance to whoever runs this shit show. The creator or whatever. The universe itself. Karma? I don't fucking know. How the fuck could anybody know that? We don't know until we cross over. In the meantime, I'm tired of waiting by the fucking river, and I'm tired of burning myself alive. My love to you all. See you later, guy. P.S. Also, thank you to Bobby for this computer. He's the guy that actually built the thing and was out the money because he knew it was going to me, so he gave it to Steve, who brought it to me. And I'm grateful to all involved. So seriously, Bobby, thank you. And again, thank you all for your messages of support. Truly appreciate it. Hopefully see you all next week. Love to you all. See you later, guy.